Is the new Civic Si the best sport compact car? We're showcasing the 2025 Honda Civic Si in Urban Pearl Metallic over black and red. This year we get some updates to the exterior and the interior. This is a whole new color, but is the performance and all the updates going to be better than the competition? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over some pros and cons to see if this is the best compact sports car out. The Si starts off with LED headlights, daytime runnings. This has been reconfigured as well as the front fascia. You get the honeycomb pattern behind the Honda badge. The lower gets the glossy black and the air pockets on the side, so it makes it look very dynamic. Now, when we're talking about competition, the price of this is just a touch over 30 grand. So when you go into something like a Hyundai Elantra N, that's going to be around $34,000. So you're already seeing the savings that you're getting. You'd have to go into an inline, which will have more horsepower and torque. But then the 0 to 60 is going to be very similar. Going against Toyota, the GR Corolla is going to outclass it because that's in the high $30,000 price. If you go into a Corolla, this is going to kill it, because the performance underneath this, 200 horsepower out of the 1.5 liter inline 4-cylinder, and that's giving us 192 pound-feet of torque to work with, achieving 27 mpgs for the city, 37 mpgs for the highway. So it sips fuel, it's not that big, but yet it has performance because the 0 to 60 is in the mid 6-second margin. So when you're considering even Volkswagen going into the GLI, that's going to be more money than this. And if you just go into a base Jetta or a Jetta Sport, yeah, it's going to lower the ride and change the suspension, but we already have a sport tuned suspension, a limited slip rear differential, 18-inch matte black wheels with larger brakes, a stiffer suspension, so the ride is going to be more engaging and more rewarding because we have a 6-speed manual. So Honda does it correct. They've also added a rev match. So if you are not so good with manual transmissions, you don't have to worry about it because the heel to toe, it's going to be a lot easier now, making it an everyday driving vehicle plus a sports car. The rear gets LED taillights, a larger spoiler on top of the trunk. The lower gets the dual exhaust outlets with a reverse camera and Honda sensing, which includes the forward collision warning, collision mitigation braking, lane departure warning, road departure mitigation, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, traffic sign recognition, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic monitoring, and blind spot assist. Is it the best sport compact car? For me, I think it is. It ticks all the boxes, just a touch over 30 grand. There isn't anything that you could get with this much performance unless you're going into the inline for Hyundai, and then you're going to be spending at least $1 grand more. But which way would you go? The Si or the competition? Drop a comment below. Quick release, going into 14.4 cubic feet of storage. Underneath the floor, get some storage, and to split fold the rear bench, pull these tabs here, and that will maximize the cargo capacity to the Civic Si, but we need to go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. The key fob to the Civic Si. Manual seat adjustments is standard. Heated front seats is new this year, Si badging. These are sport bucket front seats. And you're going to notice a few updates in the interior. It's more or less a driver-focused setup, but the passenger still has a sufficient amount of room. 12 speakers through Bose, and I like that it comes configured this way. Let's fire it up. The infotainment screen is a 9-inch, and we now have Google interface with wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM AM FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, Google Assist, Google Play, Honda Link, Amazon Alexa. Put it into reverse, and we get a reverse camera. The submenu will change the layout and the trajectory. Well, when you're on different angles, it will move. Climate control setting is standard. 2 USB-C ports with a 12-volt, an area for your smartphone, leather around the 6-speed manual transmission. Driver mode select, you got a total of 3 different driving modes, starting with Sport, Normal, Individual. individual, you can hit customize here and you can change everything to make it more sport derived. A 10.2 informational display for the driver that can go through an array of different content. You can also change out the display layout, and you can do this on both sides. So if you want that stopwatch, you can do so. If you want to change the gauge so that way you can see your G-force, you can do that. Or you can customize the whole display layout by simply going into here, changing the round into a bar, a round minimal, a bar minimal. But I typically like the round, and I probably would leave it on the stopwatch. So if I just want to have some fun, I can do that with a leather wrap steering wheel, 3-spoke multi-function. The honeycomb is going to have the red that's going to surround it, and that carries on into the driver's side. This is going to be pushed back. It's soft. It opens up into a smaller storage pocket. Leg space is going to be more than enough. You got the sport pedals. Headroom, the same thing. They do a good job carving it out with a moonroof. No auto-dimming rear view mirror with LED interior lights. Door panel and dash configuring together. I kind of wish that that red would be inside here, but you do get the contrast right in here. One touch up and down for the front windows. It's soft to touch with a medium-sized storage pocket and a large opening. For the back seat, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrest down. A con, look at the back seat opposed to the front seat. Where is the pattern? Where is the contrast? Not just the contrast stitching. No USB ports, no air vents. You do get storage behind the passenger seat. The door, at least we get the soft materials, but they even strip out the glossy black in the pattern as well, and a smaller storage pocket. So you are losing quite a bit in the back, but then at the price, is that something that would make it not worth it? Let me know your thoughts on that. Leg space is more than enough. Same thing with headroom. So at 6'3", it's doable. Sliding into the center, there's a hump. So you're gonna share some feet space. Butt, leg, and shoulder space, it's not really compromised that much because it's a cloth seat. You actually sit downwards a little bit more so, making headroom a little bit more optimal in the center. 200 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque. And you got riv match, which means if you're not familiar with heel to toe, that lingo means how close the clutch pedal is with the gas. This vehicle is super easy to drive. It's actually one of the easiest manual transmissions that is out. And look at the performance. You can get up to speed quick. That's what the SI does. Plus you're sipping fuel doing it with 27 to 37 mpgs. It's gonna take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is this is still a family vehicle, but it's kind of camouflage because if you wanna have some fun later on, it's a manual. It's engaged, it's a stiffer suspension. You got sport front seats. These are all awesome attributes, but then on the con, the back seat, they strip out all of that amenities. They just give you seats just with the contrast stitch. Even the door doesn't get the red. I feel like Honda kind of dropped the ball there, but the front occupants have been taken care of because now we have the Google interface. We got the 10.2 informational display, and you also have that sporty contrast red piping through the honeycomb vents through the dash. Road noise filters in, but I mean, realistically speaking, you're not gonna really care about that. This is an SI. You're wanting something that's still practical, a little bit lower to the ground, bigger brakes, more horsepower underneath the hood, but then you do have a Civic hybrid this year, which kind of takes away from this because you have a ton of power there and you're getting better MPGs and you don't have to go for a manual. So then the question that I have to ask, would it be better you go that route and you can also get a hatchback, where here you can only get a sedan? You have to go into Acura in order to get the hatchback. I think that was probably the biggest flaw that I can see with the SI. Not giving us the hatchback variant and then not increasing the performance considering they're giving so much to the new hybrid. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is gonna get about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. It's so engaging. That's why I would go to the SI over the hybrid. It's very easy to drive. You got a lot of room. But if you're wanting a little bit more comfort and just a few grand more, you can go that route. So it does make a lot more competition for the Civic, giving the same horsepower when you're going into the hybrid variant. Now, going back to competition, whether it's Toyota, Kia, Hyundai, even Mazda, they're all putting a lot more performance, so they have upped their game, especially Hyundai. Whenever you go into the Elantra, it's literally one of the best in class, because even the Toyota GR Corolla is going to be 4 or 5 grand more than that, and that's going on a base core trim. Whereas when you get into the N, you're getting pretty much all the bells and whistles. 34, 35 grand. But the heel to toe on that vehicle is actually harder to drive than this one because of the way the pedals are actually situated, making this a little bit more of a fun vehicle to drive for a daily and for that sport car drive. A lot less power, so then you'd have to go into the N-Line, which still has more power than this, but then they're not gonna have a manual. You have to go into the N in order to receive that. So if you want the engagement, you want the MPGs, and you still want a family vehicle, the SI is the way to go, because even if you go into Jetta, the GLI is going to cost more money, leaving this as a solo sweet spot. The only cons that I really can find in this is you don't have dual climate control settings, you're not getting a wireless charging pad. Whenever you're changing the gears, it is kind of tight, so you can easily go from 2nd to 5th gear instead of 3rd gear. I've done it myself because of how tight the gear ratio is. The back seat doesn't have any charging ports, so you are lacking there for the daily use. Cargo capacity, storage capacity, it also lacks in, and it's going to be a little bit more of a firm ride than a standard Civic. But because Honda has given it the treatment for the sports compact car and still left it as a family vehicle, it's really hard to complain about the ride quality. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, membership, live stream, TikTok, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank our friends here at Regal Honda for giving us this 2025 Honda Civic Si for our car review.